Hey, what's happening, people? I was on the phone with my folks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I figured out what my PC problem is. So I told you guys I've been having scan line issues at the bottom of my playback computer that we use to monitor the live streams. And I was able to um, use another monitor and hook it up to the computer to see if it was a um, graphics card or some type of issue to see if the scan lines continued over to the next um, computer, and they didn't. So that means that the scan line things that's happening on this computer is, you know, it's the computer itself, or it's the laptop monitor that has these weird scan lines at the bottom that keep getting bigger and bigger every day, which makes it really hard to use the bottom navigation bar for Windows and read what time it is and things like that. So, but my dad helped me, remove that variable. So that's good to know. Also means I can still do 3DS and DS content, and I can video out using my laptop. So that's good. But it is a bummer because I mean he asked me like, have we had a lot of thunder and lightning storms? And it's like, yeah. Because my dad used to be a tech person. Like he used to do computer repair in the 90s. He stopped in the 2000s. Like 20 years ago, I think, 20, but with computers, if you're out of the game for like more than, uh, I don't know, for more than a while, then it causes problems. So we're going to be playing as a Boy Wonder today. We're going to be doing some challenge map stuff. We're going to be playing as 60's Robin, because why not? And if you guys want to help out with emergency stuff, over on our Patreon in a special locked post is access to being very careful about certain information, so you can directly uh, donate to us if you need to. Amber spent about 250, I think, or more on groceries, which is what we were going to need to pay our not our electricity but our internet bill, I believe. So, and then she'll get paid by her new job next week sometime, I think. So if you want to help about that, it also has information about what happened with me being hospitalized yesterday and things like that. If anybody is curious about that kind of stuff, I'm lightheaded, so I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to. I'm only going to be working until midnight tonight. I said I was going to work until like 2 in the morning. I don't think that's happening. So, and some people are asking about like, why was there no new Arkham today? The reason why you had no new Arkham video over on the O1 channel is, one, I was hospitalized, and two, you guys didn't meet the requirement. So the Batman video is still under 1,000 views. So if you want part 4 of the Mad Hatter, it's kind of a give and take relationship here. I will supply what you guys do, but if you guys don't watch stuff, I'm not gonna go out of my way to release stuff, even though I've made videos for it. So that's where I am with that. So, I was actually ready in the hospital this morning to release the video, but you guys, it was under 1,000 views still. So, yeah. Yep. Thank you. This channel is under new management, so it's a new company that does the payout. So, yeah, we'll get that next month. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you guys want to immediately help, though, you can go to our Patreon and you can see about how to throw some stuff our way. But let's get into the fisticuffs of things. We're gonna be playing as Robin. Batman. You want to know what I found funny though, guys, with this whole situation? Is I didn't think that anybody in America could be hospitalized for exhaustion. And even people in the ER were like, it's so uncommon in America. Because in Asia, it's very common. Like, people pass out all the time from overwork and dehydration and, uh, just really pushing themselves to the point where they have heart attacks or strokes and stuff like that because they're constantly working, right? In America, we don't do that. So even when I was in the hospital last night, the nurse and all these other people were saying my case is so rare. It's not it's not normally something that they deal with. I'm like, well, what does that mean exactly? They said, oh, no, 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 your vitals are fine. Your blood work came back. She says, amazingly, she says, we thought you had a glucose problem, like, because, we had to carry you out on a blanket, and you have, like, your extremities are very weak right now, like, meaning my arms and legs, because I had to have, like, assistance standing and things like that. And so they're like, all the tests came back fine. They said, we had a problem with the EKG in the ambulance, but, the EKG here is not showing any arrhythmia or any type of whatever they're using, medical terms. So I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Because I said there was a YouTuber earlier this year that died of a heart attack. So, and he was younger than me. So, and they said, younger than you? She's like, how old are you? You look like you're, like, she says, I don't mean to be offensive or anything, but she says, you look like a baby. I was like, what are you talking about? I said, look at my license. And she looked at my license. She's like, get out. I was like, what? She says, you are not 42. I said, it says 1983, I'm 42. She's like, nuh-uh. She says, you look like you're in college. It's like, well, how old are you? She's like, I'm 46. And I didn't say anything because the lady looked like, she was a lot older than me. I thought that the nurse was at least in her... That's why you never ask a woman her age. I thought the nurse was, at the very least, that she was probably around, like, maybe 54. Something like that. Maybe, early 50s. And she's 40-something, but she looks so old. So I didn't say anything. And I think that's why she was so, like, why... You can't be 42. Because you look too young. And also, my vitals are very, like, stable for somebody who's in college. I had 104 with, let's see, 104 for my blood sugar level or whatever, so I'm not diabetic. My heart rate, when I was admitted in the hospital, it was around 147, 150. By the time I left the hospital, my heart rate was a resting heart rate of, like, 52 beats per minute. My blood oxygen level was like 99 the entire time. I have amazingly high white blood cell count, so there's no risk of cancer. I guess I don't need to take those cancer tests now that they wanted me to check. I probably still have to do the MRI, but... all that stuff came back, but still, like, I was physically weak. They mentioned jaundice. Like, I looked like kind of like yellowish, and, I was like a frail old man when they came and got me in the hospital, when the ambulance came. But after they had me hooked up for IVs, and they were giving me fluids for several hours and medicine and stuff like that, I felt a lot better. Because I haven't been able to properly hydrate myself or do anything because we haven't been paid in the longest time. And people online are telling me, you got to take better care of myself. It's like, I've been rationing out my food so my wife and I can survive. I usually, based on working 16-hour days, I usually have plenty of food and drink and stuff like that in order to maintain a very unhealthy work schedule. So, like, to have people online telling me I need to do better with that stuff, it's like, I'm already doing the best I can with the situation that I have. It's not my... I didn't choose to be malnourished and things like that. That wasn't my doing. I had a company who still hasn't paid Amber and I what we made in the month of May. Or June. So, it's not my fault. I think I made do of a pretty good situation as best I could. A terrible situation, I've been adding water to my juice to prolong, the juice. Which, waters down the nutrients and stuff, but it's still, like, I was staying hydrated. was eating lots of rice and bean and occasionally salads when Amber would bring salads home. Um, Having eggs once in a while, doing the best I can. We're having fish. It's not my fault we don't have money. I'm doing the best I can. So I don't appreciate people on the internet telling me, well, you need to, this is all your fault. It's like, no, it's not. I was handed a bad situation and I tried to make do with it what I could. Most YouTubers don't go several months without being paid. That's not a normal thing. It's 100% illegal. You have to be paid for the work that you do. Thank you guys for the super chats. That's very kind of you. So, I didn't do anything wrong. My body held out for as long as I could. If I wasn't working on the O1 channel, right? If I wasn't, like, trying to bring the O1 channel back for you guys and doing an additional, like, 5 hours of work a day for the past, like, week, I probably wouldn't have been hospitalized because I would have been, I was having sleep deprivation. A little bit of insomnia. So, I mean, and I'm not blaming you guys. I'm just saying I'm up more than I probably should be because I already stream almost 10 hours a day over here. And then I was recording hour episodes, like three or four episodes a night of Batman, which comes out to 3 hours. Plus I would edit one, so that's another hour. Then I would upload it, that's another hour. So that's 5 hours right there of just O1 channel work, 01. Then I would make the YouTube short for the morning at 8 o'clock for you guys. Then I would make the 2:30 short, because Amber doesn't stream here anymore. She streams here on occasion. When she doesn't have work that day. Although technically she still has work because she door dashes in between. So she does a lot. So, my wife and I are making do with the best course of, situation that we can. So I don't appreciate my haters saying that DSP is a better person than me. And the dude literally, whacks off in between streams. I'm not that kind of person. So I don't appreciate that kind of like comparison that a dude who's known for being like an internet villain and a whiner and a complainer and all this other stuff, and my haters saying that DSP is a better person than me. That's just that really wounds me. It's like, wow. It's like I'm at my lowest. I'm in an emergency vehicle, and I'm being compared to a locale. It's like, wow. It's like, okay. Can't get any lower than that, I guess. I've never been good at Robin. I feel like they nerfed Robin quite a bit in this one. Feels like it. Oof. I should redo that. Alright, thank you for the email, Uncle Howdy. I'll get to it. If you can't do the Miku thing tonight, I can do something else. It's just, this is probably the only night I can do the Miku thing right now. Um, I don't actually see. Oh, you mean you DM'd me? Um, Sorry guys, I was just going over an email. Relation activated. Yeah, but that was my situation last night. So the nurse looked at my ID and she couldn't believe it. But she said, you know, compared to a lot of other guys my age, I'm actually doing pretty well. And I joked with her. I said, I'm doing well enough to be hospitalized for, what does that say on my chart? She says exhaustion. I said, what am I, a cartoon character? She's like, I don't understand. I said, never mind. In my line of work, there's, you know, I wouldn't say it's common in America, but she says, yeah, we don't see these cases in America very often. She says, how many hours have you been up? I said, what time is it now? Because I'm here in the hospital now. It's 5 in the morning. So I've been awake since probably 4 a.m. yesterday. She was like, what? I said, yeah, it was probably 4 a.m. yesterday. So it would have been 4 a.m. on July 8th. And it's now, you know, it's the 9th here, so I've been up since 4 a.m. That, and I pulled in, I got up at 4 a.m. and I worked on a bunch of Batman videos, and she's like, what? She says, what do you mean Batman videos? I said, I'm a YouTuber, and she's like, oh, okay. She says, then what did you do? Then I planned on going to sleep, but I had a lot of emails that I had to do with the company that said they were going to pay us, because they promised to pay me Thursday. Like, I had a new agreement with them or whatever that they promised. Somebody named Robin was going to pay me on the, what was it, July 10th or something like that? Or no, July 9th they were supposed to, and then when they got back to me in an email, they said they were pushing the payment back another week. And so I was kind of like, I was stressed, obviously. We're gonna fuck you, Robin. I thought Robin had a... Where's his zip kick? Did they get rid of his zip kick? But pretty much we were talking, and the lady... She used to live in New Jersey, so I connected with her right away because there was like kind of this East Coast like connection, you know, with my nurse, because my nurse is formerly from Newark, New Jersey, or whatever. So she was like, there's something about you that's familiar. I said, is it because I was a New Yorker? And she says, that might be it. I was like, where do you hail from? She says, originally I'm from Jersey. I said, ah. Don't worry, Miss Deanna, I didn't do any New Jersey jokes, even though I was tempted. I didn't. I was like, these people are working on me to keep me alive, so I probably shouldn't make any Jersey jokes. I did make jokes, though, but I didn't make any New Jersey jokes. And when I'm very stressed out, I use levity a lot, which is the bane of every doctor and nurse and dentist that I've ever, you know, ever been around. So I was making jokes, but I didn't make any New Jersey jokes last night, that I recall. All in good fun. Because we live, I wouldn't say we live close to New Jersey, so it's kind of a surprise that there'd be somebody from Jersey here. Because we're a ways away. We're not like close to Pittsburgh or anything, but we're still not that close. Miss Tana's like, thank you. I mean, I tend to joke around about stuff, but yeah, the nurse, you know, they were helping me and stuff like that. I'm still, even though I've been home and I've slept like maybe, let's see, we got home. Amber came to pick me up around. She got off work at 7:30, so she got to the hospital a little before, probably 8:45. We did a fast exit from the hospital. They were trying to okay a wheelchair, and I was like, I'm just gonna walk. And they're like, you sure you'll be able to walk? It's like, yeah, I'll be able to walk fine. And they're like, well, why are you limping? I said, I have neuropathy. I said, this is not related to what happened. They said, are you sure? It's like, yeah, I'm not staying anymore. You've already unhooked me from the IV. I want to go home and go to bed. So Amber helped me get to the car. We had to walk a little bit, which the walking was good for me. But just like when I was admitted into the hospital last night, I still have this haziness in my head. Like I still feel lightheaded, but alert. It's weird. It's like a heavy sensation in my head. Like my neck and my head, back of my head, feels heavy. And my tongue is like very dry, even though I've been drinking tons. Okay, that sounded wrong. I've been drinking up now. Even though I've been hydrating myself. How's that? I've been drinking lots of juice and water. My tongue still feels dry as a desert. But they let me go, right? So. But I don't feel, other than like my heart rate not being in the 140s, obviously, I still feel exactly the same as when I was administered into the hospital last night. And I think a lot of that has to do with stress, to be honest. Stress, overwork. And I wouldn't mind the overwork. Like, I'm used to overworking myself. Like, I'm one of the craziest YouTubers on the internet. I work a lot. But not being paid for the work that I've done, that's what irritates me. Thank you very much for the super chat. Like, not being paid for the work that I put in, that's the annoying factor. And then Amber and I get into tiffs like, you know, I don't really have a job right now because I haven't been paid for it. You know, I've been doing the Patreon thing, but Patreon thing is survival for rent and electricity and stuff. It doesn't cover the cost of food and all that other stuff. So technically right now I don't have a job. And all these people online yelling at me saying, you know, if you had a real job, this wouldn't have happened. It's like, but YouTube is a real job. It's not my fault that YouTube has a money management problem. I didn't do anything. I show up for work. I stream. You know, I put in the hours. You know, most people would say, yeah, that person deserves to get paid what they worked. That's where I am, you know. Not asking to be a millionaire or anything. I put in the time. I want to be paid for the months that I worked. It's that simple. Whether I worked retail or whatever, I'm due what I did. And I don't think that, you know, that YouTube has a right not to pay me. But I'm not a big content creator like Asmongold or PewDiePie or something. I have no way of doing litigation against YouTube to force them to pay me and stuff. I'm a small fish. You know, I'm so small that I didn't even trend on Twitter when I went to the hospital like most people. When most YouTubers go to the hospital, they get all this, like, hundreds of thousands of people retweeting stuff. Nobody cares. Like, I mean, I have my group of community. Like, I have you guys, like, a few hundred people. I mean, you guys care, but I mean, the internet in general doesn't give a crap about me. I haven't heard from one of my YouTube friends, not one, that said, hey, what happened? Not one. They have my phone number, too. They could text me. Not one. And they all saw my posting, too. Yeah, they don't... Some YouTube friends, right? I'm just saying.
Simulation complete.
Out of curiosity, does an ultimate get a what? that means, Uncle Howdy. I don't know how to give you a profile picture. I don't know how to do that. What does that even mean? Well, yeah, I mean, I have support from you guys, my fans. That's not what I mean. Like, usually when a YouTuber posts they're in the hospital or all this random support comes from people on Twitter. I don't have that. I just have like my niched audience. That's what it always be. Like, I could get run over or something like that, and maybe people would do a story about it. Maybe. And that one jerk podcast guy, you know, yeah, he won't talk to me because like I talked to him a while ago, and he I wasn't good enough to do a story on what was happening with these YouTube partners that weren't being paid for 2 months. And instead he wanted to focus on a Mr. Beast story or something like that. And, you know, I was trying to think what else. It's just, it's interesting to me that even when there's like a real problem, like most YouTubers and YouTube partners and things like that, they don't really care as long as if it's something they can't make a spin about or something they can't profit off of or get a lot of attention about. Like, I got bumped from the podcast because there was a new Mr. Beast controversy that people were talking about. I think it was the week of June 16th or the week of June 20th. I don't. It was around then. And then I had another opportunity to do another podcast at the beginning of July, and people were talking about a what was the controversy? Oh, I remember. So you had this person who worked at not Dragon Ball. Well, how did it go again? You had this person who was complaining, who's in the game industry, who says that apparently a lot of AAA companies are not going to do queer stories anymore in mainstream media. And this person was freaking out and yelling at people, and they didn't understand why that was happening. So all these, like anti-woke guys ran with the story, and I got bumped again. When, literally we were in danger of losing our home, and this was before the Patreon thing clicked in. So I had a podcast thing opened up at the beginning of July or whatever, and that got taken away because of this person complaining about how the game industry is moving away from that kind of stuff. And as the game industry should move away from that stuff, because it shouldn't be mainstream. I don't see why they would even be upset about that. Like, there is still spaces available where they can make those type of stories and those type of games that are for niche stuff. And of course you're not going to profit off of, making mainstream AAA stuff, because people don't want that. Most straight people don't want that stuff. It doesn't have to deal with ists and phobes or anything. It has to do with the content people want to consume. Most straight people don't watch that stuff because they're straight, but you say that kind of stuff and it's like, oh, we gotta basically put a hit out on this person, it's completely irrational. It doesn't make any sense, but I mean, that's the internet. So that's why I got bumped again. And I haven't even asked about other podcast opportunities because I've just given up. It's like, I'm tired of getting bumped. I'm tired of people saying that I'm not priority. And, I hit the absolute lowest of my life when the bank declined my offer for a loan, because I was going to take out a loan of 10 grand or something like that just to cover like the next 3 months, right? And I was like, okay, we're going to be okay because the bank's going to be able to give us the loan. And when that fell through, I fell apart, because like that same day I came back, where I live streamed and said, that I was thinking about, cashing in on my what do you call it? Cashing in on my life insurance policy so Amber could survive and not, be homeless, because I wouldn't survive living on the street anyway. So I had a really bad day when I was talking like that. I talked to that YouTube podcaster guy, and he gave me the suicide prevention hotline. He didn't talk to me at all, and he treated me like I was a crazy person. And that same day, I was, removed from podcasts. I was denied business loans and a bank loan. And YouTube also put a thing in where I got a notice saying that they were going to remove monetization from this channel because somebody made some type of complaint or something like that, and they were going over things. And then because of that, I lost my YouTube partner support. So I had no way out of anything. I was literally at my wit's end. And then out of nowhere, I got a phone call during my stream from that ex-Google employee who explained everything that was happening. And it wasn't about my Google AdSense that they were talking about taking away ads. Amber had been advertising our channel, and YouTube was demanding, in order for Amber to keep advertising our channel, that we give them our social security number, our address, and our name, so that when she ran ads for the channel, that it would have the proper advertiser information if people requested it. And then we told them, no, we're not doing that. And they said, okay, you can't use that service anymore. And it's like, that's fine. But there was a lot of miscommunication going on. And for somebody who's dyslexic and has ADD, you can understand that I was literally at my wit's end. My day got better. And a couple days later, the Patreon thing went through, and we were okay. We were able to survive our rent, but, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen to us. Like, we couldn't pay for the month of August. So there was a lot of stress. I didn't threaten a podcast person that if I didn't go on their show that I was going to end my life. That's not true. That's not what happened. See, these people, they spin all kinds of weird nonsense. It's just like, I'm tired of dealing with them. I'm tired of dealing with woke people, and I'm tired of dealing with anti-woke people and podcasters. Because in my eyes, they're all the same. I don't really see much of a difference. They're like two sides to the same coin. Their issues are different, but some of the ways that they respond to things are the same. It's just, it's different. Like, woke people will harass you, do smear campaigns, they'll DDoS you, and they'll cyber attack you. Anti-woke people will make videos about you, which leads to harassment. And they make fun of you, and they call you a low-cal, and they do all this other stuff. Say you're grifting, and, you know, then they turn stuff around on you so that they can make money, or they can point people toward their website. So, I mean, in a sense, both groups are known for online bullying and harassment. It's just the way that they pull the trigger is differently. You know what I mean? So I don't really see them as much different anymore. Like, this whole situation has basically just shown me that when it comes to the internet, my way of doing things is completely different than how, like, both woke people and anti-woke handle things. Like, it's complete. I'm isolated between both groups. Like, I'm not connected to either one of them. You know, I'm like just kind of like in a political sense, I'm an independent. So I'm in the middle of all this stuff, like, not just in politics, but also online rhetoric, I guess, now, too. So I don't really have a place to belong except my community. That's the truth, because I don't, like, all my quote-unquote anti-woke friends have done nothing. They haven't gotten my story out there. They haven't done, you know... I've only had a couple people actually say they're praying for me. And most people are just kind of like, yeah, if this doesn't relate to my channel, then I don't really see how I could really benefit from this. But they're like, one guy told me if I did end up cashing out, they would definitely talk about it because, you know, they'd make sure that YouTube would feel the sting of responsibility. It's like, so while I'm still around, you're not going to do anything. But if I'm gone, that'll benefit you. It's like, okay. That's great. So you can see why I started to have a different, like, perception of these people. It's just like, to me, it's like two faces coin. It's all the same. And you can't change my mind on it either, because I've seen too much of that. But the hospitalization, like, I read, there was something about me on, I think it was Reddit or something, I saw this morning. It's not there anymore, because it was not true. But some people were saying that I went to the hospital to gain sympathy from people so that people would donate, and that there was actually nothing wrong with me, and I just wasted emergency services time and money, like, by taking up a space in the ER. This is what my haters are like, man. So I can't even go to the ER when I'm sick because apparently I have some type of angle. You know, this is just absolutely insane. And I don't even know what I did to these people. I disagree with them on comic books and fictional characters. And now I'm like worse than a literal dude that tells his audience that, hey, you didn't give me enough money yesterday. We had we had $500 in support only yesterday, and before that we had $1,000. What's wrong with you guys? I mean, can't the dude just be happy with what he got from his fans? I just don't understand. See, I don't think I really work well on the internet anymore. I don't know how to be that kind of person. I just don't. I'm thankful for whatever people are able to give, you know? Every little bit helps is what my philosophy was that I learned from, you know, people with actual morals. Whatever people are able to give, or, you know, if people are able to pray for you, or whatever, it all helps, you know? I just don't get the 2020s at all. It's a very ugly demonstration of, like, the human soul is what the 2020s is. It's like staring into the eyes of a demon or something like that. It's very disturbing. Oh, I won a long time ago, so I'm just waiting for them to kill me. There we go.
Simulation complete.
I think, I mean, I thought I was a pretty strong person, but I don't think I can handle all this stuff mentally. Like, it's a lot, you know? Because, I mean, every month goes by, it's like you keep getting promised to be paid and all this other stuff. That one person in charge of payment told me in an email that made me, like, kind of shaky last night is they said, don't worry, you're like one of the first content creators in line. And remember, there's a lot of content creators that have like millions of subs over me at this company. And the fact that they're telling me that they're still going to take care of their bigger partners and not the people that are legally... There's a couple partners at this company that are literally, you know, they're close to losing their home and everything. And this company says, don't worry, you guys are like, you're in line to be paid. So they're not even gonna, they don't even prioritize, like, I wouldn't even look at the people that are already like filthy rich and stuff like that. I would actually be like, the partners that are going to be paid are the ones that literally they could lose their apartment, they could lose their mortgage. But you have to understand that YouTube doesn't act like this. And to me, this is newsworthy. Like, this is a huge story. Like, YouTube would much rather take care of their partners that have like 7 or like 4 million subscribers and get them paid first, rather than the people that really need the money just to survive. Like, I have nothing in my bank account, you know? I was hospitalized for exhaustion because I've been trying to double my workload to make money on a channel that actually has the ability to pay me at the end of the month. But they would much rather pay the bigger partners that aren't struggling at all. That's the kind of company that YouTube is. And I think that's very newsworthy, you know? I think that's an important story to tell, but apparently it's not. So, I mean, I don't know personally if I've handled all this very well. I don't know how a person is supposed to handle all this. I've got, like, personal financial problems before not being paid, and then it just dumped more problems on my shoulders, you know? I don't even know what a good illustration to describe this is. Before I used to say it was kind of like Atlas, but now I think I'm like Atlas with like several planets like loaded on my shoulders. And I can't carry all the weight. On top of that, you know, I don't have any support at home either because my wife is mad at me that I haven't been paid because she has to work really, really hard where she is.
Activated.
And, you know, I don't know. Whoops, I gotta do that again. Yeah, that's true, Miss Fiona.
Simulation activated.
But the thing is, I don't want to do a podcast stuff. Like, all the stuff that people talk about on podcasts to make money is not the kind of stuff that I want to talk about on a daily basis. I'm well aware of, you know, woke versus anti-woke people, like, all the time. But that's not something that, if I did a gaming podcast, I would just want to talk about the game industry. I don't care about, you know, queer stories or whatever it is people talk about all the time. I just care about actual game development. Like, this game is coming, I'm excited about this. This is what's going on with the prices. This console sold this amount. I mean, it's not very exciting news, but it's just basic game journalism stuff that I would do if I had the time to do it. But you have to remember that if you don't do sensationalist stuff, you don't get people to come in and watch. Because people don't like non-controversial things. The algorithm doesn't like non-controversial things. Why do you think everybody uses the same type of thumbnail design? You know, white text with big red headlines and things like that. Everybody uses that. They say only one side uses it, the drama channels, but I've seen so many people that aren't quote-unquote drama channels, and they say that they're on the good side because they're woke, but they use the same thumbnail template as the anti-woke people. So what's their excuse? They're better than the other people for using the same, like, you know, clickbait stuff? Like, what makes them better than the other guys that are doing exactly the same thing that they are, just different politics? Like, these are the type of questions that I ask people, because it's like, you say that these people need to be studied because they're anti-woke, but over on your side, you're using the exact same thumbnail template. What's your excuse? I'm just curious, like, what is the reason? You say that they're doing this on purpose to target people, but yet you're using their same template design. But it's okay if you do it. Okay. And these are the kind of questions that get me in trouble, by the way. These are just common sense questions. Like, if it's really a problem, don't you think you would try to be better than your opposition or people that you don't like instead of using their same thing? The reason why you're using the same thing that they are is because you know that it works. That's the truth, you know? That's why they're doing it. They wouldn't do it if it didn't work.
Simulation activated.
That's why I said they're very similar to each other. They have different tactics, but there's a lot of similarities to how they do online harassment. I'm just saying. It's not like I'm going out of my way to make enemies with anti-woke people. I'm just saying I see similar patterns, but different executions. And, you know, I had my eyes opened over the past, like, 2 months because of my situation. Uh-oh. You know, that would have been a good one until I got punched in the face there. My plan B? Oh, my plan B is always I have channels that are separated. I have merchandise. I have a Patreon. With my health conditions, I can't really get a job outside of the house. So I don't really have a plan C. I've always had it so that different channels were not connected in the sense in terms of pay schemes in case, you know, what happened in 2014 happened again where another company would steal, you know, money, income. Then I would have a website, a place where the money was coming in safely. And the New York companies always come through. The problem is Arkham is not a big budget thing anymore like it used to be, because the O1 channel always used to cover rent and basic necessities until about 2000 and probably say 2019. And then it just kind of fell by the wayside because I, you know, actually no, that's not true. I take that back. The channel was in good standing until it got copyright striked in 2023. Whatever year the Gotham Knights TV show was, that's when I got copyright striked. Whenever it released and I made my review, I got 2 copyright strikes. And then I lost my eligibility for live streaming, because I did a podcast. I did a real talk thing with the Vicky Vale thing in the background in Arkham Knight. And I did like a 2-hour podcast. People would give me donations and super chats and memberships. And they'd ask me questions. I'd respond to their questions. It was kind of like a podcast. Sort of. It was like a real talk thing. And then I had that taken away from me, because with that, I was able to live stream, so I was able to increase the revenue of the O1 channel more so than I could do with uploads. But I'm not eligible to live stream over there, so yeah, I need to devise a new plan B, but I'm currently malnourished. I'm not thinking clearly because my head's all fuzzy. I have sought other online jobs. I've applied for game journalism stuff because I'm a pretty decent writer, and I applied for some voiceover positions. And I haven't heard back from the voiceover stuff, but I did hear back from the journalist stuff, but they're still constantly firing people in the journalism space. So they're not going to have positions open until next year sometime. So you might actually see me work for a publication again in 2026. But right now, they told me they don't have any positions available, and if they did hire me, the chance of me being fired is very high because they're letting people go all the time. Like, former friends of mine, or not former friends, former colleagues basically told me to just kind of wait it out because they know that the game industry is going to be making some major changes. Changes for the good, mind you. But, like, the process is going to be slow, and it's not going to be, like, something that is going to happen overnight. But once they go back to real journalism again, which they're making their way toward that, then I will be able to get a job in that based on my qualifications and the fact that I used to work with tons of people that know me in the industry, and I can get a job in that way because my writing spoke for itself, as well as my career as a YouTuber for 18 years is a good sell as well, because I know what I'm doing. But again, that's going to take time. Other than that, I don't really have any other qualifications for my voice. I can't be a musician because with my neuropathy, I can't get any music work, playing drums or any things like that. And I'm not as good of a graphic artist as Amber, so I can't like do my services for graphic art because I'm not an artist. I just make YouTube thumbnails. So that's the downside of not having a good college education, is I don't have a lot of options outside of the internet. If it's not a writing job, if it's not an editor job, if it's not voice related, there's not much I can do, unfortunately. But I have been seeking other employment and things like that. Yeah, of course. Just nothing has happened yet. The closest I was getting a narration job for a book on tape, but they said my voice wasn't warm enough. They were looking for somebody who had more of warmer tones, and they told me to work on that. And I'm like, So basically, I lost the role to someone that had a more pleasant sounding voice, because they said my voice is too, what'd they say? It had to do with, I think they said authoritative. I have a very, what's the word? They were looking for, it was for a mystery novel, so they were looking for a voice that could convey compassion and mystery and intrigue, and they didn't want somebody who sounded like they were in a leadership position, because they said when I talk, the ways that I speak, in the manners that I do, it's like that I'm in a leadership role, and they are not looking for a type of voice like that, because they don't have, you know, they don't have stuff for that right now. They're not looking for somebody who can speak in a way that makes people, you know, listen to a certain cause, like it's some type of political, or it's a speech, or it's a, I don't know, one of those things. And I'm like, I didn't even realize I did that. They said, apparently you do. They said, you might have been doing this forever. It's like, this is just how my grandfather talked. And they said, what did your grandfather do? I said, he was in leadership positions in the police department. He was almost a police commissioner, and they're like, there you go. So the way that you speak, your mannerisms, you speak with authority and leadership. Like, you're a leader. It's like, well, that doesn't help me get the job, does it? They're like, no. But there are ways that you can try to improve your diction and, you know, how you speak, and, you know, maybe we'll have another opportunity down the road. I was like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. Because I didn't even realize that, I don't know all this different, like, psychological way of speaking. This is just how I learned to speak, you know? It's like, okay, apparently I didn't know that there's different types of psychology and ways that people can convince people to do things just by speaking. I just thought this is how New Yorkers talk, because this is where I'm from. Most people that I know of in New York and stuff, they speak the way that I do. It's a very normal mannerisms and stuff like that. I'm not trying to convince people to do anything. I'm just talking. So that was kind of weird for me. I'm like, okay, that's new. Never heard of that.
Simulation activated.
I can't work outside my home. You can blame SSI for that. Once somebody's put on SSI, you're screwed. You can never work outside your home. And I don't get SSI payments either, so they took those away from me. They took my SSI away from me because I became a YouTuber. And then they wanted all the money back. So SSI is essentially a loan that you don't realize is a loan until it's too late. Because they were asking me in the hospital, they were like, is there any type of support that you can go through to, you know, try to make ends meet? And it's like, nope. And they said, okay. And they're like, why is that? It's like, well, according to Social Security, once you were in their program and they demanded the money back from you, you can never go back on the program ever again. Because even if you paid them off, you're a risk or someone that they don't want to work with. But yeah, anybody on SSI, you have to be very, very careful, because it's basically, you're taking like a loan from a loan shark. And they will ask for everything back plus interest once you're back on your feet. So if you can avoid ever going on SSI, like any type of Social Security benefits, I would do that. You're better off like going to a bookie. Better getting your arm broken than being in financial debt until the day you die. I'm just saying. Because at least you know where you stand with a bookie, and you might be able to sympathize him when he's breaking your arm. But SSI and IRS, no, 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 no. Those are people you never want to mess with. Because you will never get out. And there are no programs to help with that. There is no type of litigation. There's no support. They're not like they have so much protections. The government gives them so much protections that normal people, normal citizens can't do anything against them. Whether it's an error or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can never win against them, and you can never get help against them. There's no company that I know of that exists that helps with that stuff. Because it's not the same type of commercial debt or anything like that. Now the good news is it doesn't impact your credit score, because I was able, even though I'm under all this like government debt, it never impacted my credit score. But my credit score didn't come in handy anyway, because I didn't get the bank loans. So my credit score went down when they did the bank loans, when they applied for it. So now it's going to take me years to get back up to 800 or whatever. And now with the new medical debt that I just sandwiched myself with, because I had no choice. Like, I was probably going to die last night. Like, I was in very bad shape. I had a heart rate of over 147. I was as white as a ghost. And I'm pretty pale for a white guy, but, like, the black lady who came to be the paramedic, like, she was making a lot of jokes, which made me laugh a lot because it was funny. But she called me a porcelain doll with jaundice. So I had to go to the hospital because I probably would have died in my bed last night because I was super dehydrated. I was exhausted. I was in and out of consciousness. So it's like I didn't have a choice not to go to the hospital. It had to happen. And if I'm not around, how's Amber going to pay for the apartment and stuff like that? Because it takes money to get life insurance policy and stuff like that. They don't give that to you right away, I don't believe. It takes time. Not that I want to think about that again, but you know what I mean. Oops. Already won, I just have to... Oh wait, no, I don't have to die, I just have to survive, right? Yeah, this is not a survival thing. This is I have to win. Whoops. Yep, but the best thing you guys can do for a family member is if they're considering getting on SSI, like disability insurance, don't do it. Because as soon as they get back on their feet, the risk of like penalties is so extravagant that it'll make your head spin. Like literally, if you're going to be on SSI benefits, you can never work again. You can never get an online job. You can never be paid for anything. You can never have a PayPal. You can never have a Patreon. You could never do a GoFundMe if you ever ended up in the hospital. You can't do anything. Like you're basically stuck on getting, what is it, like $1,200 a month or something like that for the rest of your life. And you have to be okay with that. Because even if you go through the proper channels of canceling it, like I did, and I had numerous conversations with them to cancel it as soon as I was starting to make, like, above, like, $1,200 a month. And they promised they would take care of it, and they never did. So even that is not a guarantee that will save you from human error. So. The people who try to do the most in this world for good always end up getting screwed over. You can't change my mind about it. I've seen it constantly. If you are a person that strives for good, you're going to get screwed over really bad in life. Because this world is corrupted by evil. Everywhere you go. Evil's always around the corner. Ready to screw you up. Oh, you guys already got 100 likes, you're fine. The only thing we need to do is try to keep the views up with YouTube Shorts. Video essays aren't a guarantee that they're going to hit, though. Like, video essays come back and forth all the time. There was a time where video essays weren't hitting in the search engine. Like, I've actually made a couple video essays a while ago on this channel. I made a couple lengthy news videos discussing stuff about Nintendo's business strategy or whatever. It was a 30-minute video. It got 1,000 views. Nothing happened from it. I put 72 hours of work into it, and that was it. Got 1,000 views. Made like $5, something like that. That wasn't worth it. The only people live stream is, like, I wouldn't say live streaming is low. What do you call it? Low effort, because there's a lot of stuff involved with live streaming. Like, there's the chat interaction. Like, when you're making a video, you're not talking to people. You're talking to yourself. You're not engaged with your community. When you make live streams, especially, I make live streams for my audience, because it's the only people I can reach as Shadowban. You're engaging with your viewership, which gives them, like, a sense of longing, as well as, you know, oh, wow, you know, I'm talking with so-and-so or whatever. It's a community experience. when YouTube's talking about not paying people for low effort content, they're talking about people that don't get actual good equipment to make videos. Like they're, you know, filming off on a, they're doing like video game stuff and they're using a camera, like an actual like camcorder or something like that. They're not using equipment to actually video capture and things like that. They're not, with their live streams, they're sitting around and they're like going on other people's websites and plagiarizing their work and talking about it, making fun of people. I'm doing what's known as transformative works right now. I'm playing a video game, but I'm here making a transformative work because I'm adding my commentary to it. I'm not plagiarizing anybody. I'm not doing anything weird, per se. So this is, I wouldn't call live streaming low effort. Low effort would be reaction videos, which is what YouTube is going after now. They're going after AI and they're going after reactionary content.
Simulation activated.
And I'm not even worried about what YouTube is doing right now because, for one, they haven't paid me in a while, and two, I have a person who's way smarter than the people that work at YouTube right now, and he already explained to me what Apocalypse number 6 is all about. YouTube is really tired of the AI stuff because, like, there's been a couple YouTubers that have been making millions of dollars off making, like, AI movie trailers. And apparently YouTube has been getting leaned on pretty hard by, like, the legal side of Hollywood to do something about this because these people are using Hollywood likenesses and other things and trying to claim fair use. And they're making, like, these really extravagant trailers where they're paying, like, $200 to make these trailers like an AI program. And they're earning a profit of like $1 million a trailer almost, or like 500,000 or something like that. They're making bank, right? Because they're getting millions of views in such a short amount of time. How YouTube works is if you get 1,000 views very quickly, you make a lot of money. If it takes you a while to get 1,000 views, then you make a little bit of money. If it takes you 24 hours to make 1,000 views, then you earn very little money. The faster that your video grows, the more money you make. So these AI channels were able to earn such a huge, substantial amount of money that it got the attention of Hollywood and their big, fancy lawyers. So now YouTube needs to do something about the AI side of YouTube, which is growing at a insane rate, to kind of curve this and prevent everybody from doing it. Otherwise, they're going to face, like, serious litigation from Hollywood. So how it was explained to me is, like, for the most part, this new, like, monetization policy is because of AI. That's why they started it. But YouTube is also tired of the Asmongoulds and the Sniper Wolves and all these other people with reactionary-based content of people, like, gathering full interviews and taking other people's footage and doing stuff like that. And they want that to stop because they don't see that as reaction-based content. What reaction-based content used to be on YouTube until they got rid of it was known as video responses. I don't know if anybody remembers video responses, but that was a long time ago. We're talking like circa, I don't know, 2010, something like that. 2009, 2010, 2012. It's been gone a long time. People found a way of making reaction videos still, or responding videos work by basically they take another person's work or video and they talk over it and say, for the longest time they've been saying that's fair use, that's commentary. And now YouTube's like, no, that's lazy. You're not even making like a lengthy video essay and using segments of the person's thing. You're re-uploading their entire video, pausing it, and talking over it. That's the laziest form of content there is. So YouTube made sure that their new monetization policy included reactionary-based stuff, because they're not okay with it. anymore because they think, oh, if we can stop this, then we can make people like Asmongold and all these other people leave. Although, I hate to tell people this, but Asmongold isn't going to leave. He'll find another way of sticking around. The guy's very smart. Whether you like him or not, you have to admit and respect the grind that that guy has because he's very intelligent. And he knows how to play the long game. So, YouTube messing with the whole monetization policy, even if he loses like 10 or 20 grand, he'll still be on YouTube. Guarantee it. It's not going to really get rid of any of the big reaction-based channels. What it'll do is it'll put a thumbtack in the way of other people that don't have millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands of views per video. It's going to harm those people, but it's not going to impact the big content creators at all. They have memberships, they have merchandising, they have other streaming sites that they use, and then they just upload clips for additional revenue, you know? It's not going to hurt them at all, bottom line. So, but I do believe that the reaction stuff for years has been a problem. I don't disagree with that. I think that reactionary content on YouTube has been the laziest form of content forever. And, like, there needed to be stuff done about it. But the only reason they're doing stuff about it now is they want to loop it in with AI. But if you do Let's Plays, if you do gaming news, as long as you're not, like, reacting to an entire person's video with your news or something like that, or you're taking somebody's entire article and you're just talking over it, and, like, either making fun of the person for harassment or just, like, using the entire person's work for your own and benefiting off of it, yeah, you probably won't be able to do that anymore. And I don't think you should be. Like, it's okay for you to take snippets of somebody's work and talk about it, but it's not okay for you to take everything that person worked toward and then to profit off of them. Like, there's some type of legal thing with that. That YouTube's been dodging for years, by the way. But yeah, they're not doing something to be holier than thou. They had Hollywood come up their skirt, basically. Sniffing around. And they have to do something because these movie trailers are making people overseas in India and Istanbul and, you know, where a lot of these AI YouTubers live. It's making them a lot of money. And YouTube's getting in trouble with people at Hollywood and, you know, unions and stuff like that. Because obviously you don't have permission to use an actor's likeness and stuff like that. Not really. So that's going to cause problems. I don't think I can miss a combo. I think that's part of what the problem is here. I could be wrong, but no, it doesn't have to do with missing a combo. It has to do with getting hit. Asmongold is king. I have nothing against Asmongold. I've never met Zach. Zach and I run in different circles. I don't know a lot of reaction-based people. I don't. I run in the gaming side of things. Like, I run with gamers. I don't know anything about reaction-based content. What I'm telling people, though, because I've had haters and stuff say that, oh, this is going to impact my channel because my channel sucks and stuff like that. Good riddance, because Kwing is, like, the lowest form of content on the internet. Like, I'm low quality, all this other stuff. You know, they like to be very, like, rude and stuff to me all the time. But according to the Google contact I have, this is not going to impact gaming at all. Like, this is the first time in years that gamers are not going to be impacted by a, whatchamacallit, an ad apocalypse. We've been impacted by 3 ad apocalypses over the past 12 years. But this one is not going to hurt us, according to information I have. And you have to remember, I make it my business to know because I'm a full-time YouTuber and I have to know what's going on before the crap hits the fan. I need to know how to adapt, what I need to do. And I don't have to make any changes. So that was a nice combo, actually. That worked out well. Good job, man in tights. Because YouTubers have been impacted by so many different types of ad apocalypses over the years, in terms of like violent content, like the Mortal Kombat community. For 6 to 8 months, they had all their videos yellow monetized due to, you know, graphic nature of the video games. Kappa was essentially a type of adpocalypse that impacted family-friendly channels all over the internet. Whether they covered video games or not, it didn't matter. If they branded you a 4Kids channel, you were screwed. So that's 2 ad apocalypses there. You have the one ad apocalypse that affected everybody on YouTube because of the Logan Paul people and the Suicide Forest. So that impacted everybody. The PewDiePie ad apocalypse, because of like what he said, like had advertisers pull out, which dropped everybody's income. Which is true. When he did that, we did a couple of those stunts that made a lot of advertisers mad on the platform and they left. Which, when those advertisers were pulled out, everybody was impacted on YouTube. When the biggest YouTubers screw up, it impacts everybody's revenue. Everybody's CPM gets lowered, everybody's CPM gets hit. Your channel is not safe based on what big content creators do, because they bring in the ad revenues. They bring in the big advertisers. And if they do something to make the big advertisers, well, then your CPM is going to be greatly lowered. And because of PewDiePie and Logan Paul, everybody suffered from that. The ones that specifically targeted gaming and stuff like that, they didn't last very long, because eventually people were like, wait a second, that can't be a thing. I got hit. Holy crap, I got hit. I gotta do this again. But the newest ad apocalypse is not going to impact gamers. Unless your entire channel is you take other people's video game content and you talk over it. Like, what I mean by is you watch someone else's Let's Play, you upload it, and then you, like, talk over their footage. And you, react to them playing video games. You can't do that anymore. And rightly so, because, I mean, that's lazy. But I've already heard that some reaction channels are just going to take, like, occasional clips. Instead of playing back on a whole video, they'll do what's known as highlighting. And they'll take somebody's video and they'll, like, splice it up, which is what they used to do. I think it was right around the time, maybe 2 years before the pandemic, is where a lot of people started to do full-blown reactions to not just movie trailers, but, like, TV shows and other YouTubers' channels, and completion clips of, like, cats and funny stuff on TikTok and all that other stuff. And some of that stuff is still protected under fair use, but it's like 60 seconds of it. So, like I said, the bigger channels will find a way of being smart about it. I don't think Sniper Wolf will survive this, but doesn't she have other channels that aren't reaction-based? So I don't think you guys will get rid of her completely. But I don't know. You never know. The people behind Sniper Wolf could be really, really smart. I don't know. I don't run in those circles, though, so... Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, most of these YouTubers survive because they become personalities. Like, my gameplay sucks. I'm not very good at gameplay. It's always been commentary for me. Shoot. Hey guys, can we do a short rush, please? Is this a shorts playlist? What is this? Yeah, that's a shorts playlist. Could you guys run that in the background? We're in danger of not clearing 1,000 views this hour. And part of that is because I had to private or make a members only video. Because the last stream got DDoS so badly I can't fix it. So if you guys could, I don't know how many of there are you here. Maybe like all my instruments are messed up. I'm having scan line problems all over my monitor. My laptop is dying, like the laptop monitor. So I'm gonna have to bring down a external monitor from upstairs and try to connect it to this laptop so that I can see what's going on, read the chat back and stuff like that. But like I can't really see what's going on, so I know that we're in danger of like not hitting 1,000 views. I think we're at like 10. Yeah, we're at like 1018. So I just need you guys to run the shorts. There's like 80 of you guys. Just click that link. I think that it's either it says 80 or 180. I can't read it because I have scan lines all over my monitor, which means that my my monitor is dying because it's a it's built into the laptop. Ah, wait, no, I should be able to survive that. Still, it's kind of annoying to get 50,000. Uncle Howdy, your ultimate is not going to do well, buddy. It's not about that. The ultimate is, it's a transactional thing. You pay the $100, I play the game that you want. You can't count on, streams doing well. Ultimate streams never do well. It's not about that. I would much rather have 500 or 600 members a month than worry about ad revenue ever again. I would much rather be like totally supported by, our supporters. Like I don't really care for ad revenue. It gets lower and lower every year. It's all about memberships. It's all about super chats. It's exactly how the Twitch model is. Like streamers live off their viewership. Just like if you ever went to an orchestra or like a play or something like that, an opera company, they survive based on not ticket sales, but their sponsors. That's how they survive. They're like, I believe they would be considered a gig economy. PBS, Public Broadcasting, is a corporation that they have to do like several telethons a year in order to stay in business so that they can reach out to their constituents. They don't make any really ad revenue or whatever as a what do they call it, as a public broadcasting company, something like that. So they're the only reason PBS has been around for as long as it has is because of viewers like you. Is their slogan. If they didn't have people donating to them, PBS would go out of business a long time ago. It's true. So basically YouTube is moving away from the model of ad revenue because ad revenue's gotten them in trouble so much because of content ID and copyright and all kinds of stuff. So YouTube's always trying to find a way of getting rid of content ID forever, or copyright. You can't really ever take away a YouTuber's memberships as a company. So if you're like a group that, let's say you did a Final Fantasy VII playthrough, right? You did a playthrough of Final Fantasy, then Square comes by, they claim the whole thing. Then you made no money. But excuse me. If you got a, like, we'll say $100 super chat playing a Final Fantasy game, if Square's lawyers come after you because they want that $100 super chat because they already took the ad revenue off your video, well, they can't take your super chat because that's tied to a different revenue stream on YouTube, which is known as tips and donations. So basically, that person gave the streamer of their choice a donation for them playing the game they like. So Square and their fancy lawyers can't come and seize that money. So YouTube is seeing more and more of how like Kick and Twitch and all these other companies like Rumble operate, and they're like, you know what? If we eventually just get rid of ad revenue in general, because there are very few content creators that actually benefit from it, and just go toward like the Twitch model of things, we can cut out all this loss of profits that we have to do for these ad agencies. And so eventually they're going to do that. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. All the ducks haven't lined up yet, but it is going to happen. Probably 2 years, probably a year. They've been building up toward it for a long time. Ow. They even have a new... I can tell you about something. So they're going to be rolling out a new feature that some YouTube channels already have, which is known as the EXP system. So the EXP system is basically like an RPG leveling up system that YouTube will reward certain fans of a content creator certain perks and things like that. The person who super chats the most, the person who comments the most on the stream, they have a RPG level up system that is rolling out to select YouTubers. And they're testing it because they really want to, just like how super chat goals kind of encourage people to super chat every once in a while, they want to give people incentive to get deeper into the communities that they're a part of. Because they're, you know, trying to find ways of replacing ad revenue. That's all it is. I think it's a genius thing, though, because, like, there are people that get very competitive with things, right? And they want to be like, okay, this is my favorite streamer, and they're playing this game, and if I give them a super chat, I can earn more points for something. I don't know what the point system does. Nobody knows what the EXP point system actually does. But there are some channels that are already rolling out this feature. And it has increased people's incentive to donate and become members and to comment more and all this other stuff. And you'll see more and more channels, like, especially gaming channels, you'll see them get it probably by September, end of August. It's happening. My friend Abdallah has it. My O1 channel, believe it or not, has it, and I can't even live stream. So I was on my O1 channel the other day when I was doing a premiere, and it has the EXP service, or the XP service. And I never activated that. I never gave YouTube permission to do that, and I never signed a beta release. Because it's only supposed to be available in the beta right now. Unless your channel's like wicked old. And since the O1 channel's from the year 2006, it's possible that it just got it by accident. I don't know. But the EXP feature is over there for premieres. But I have no idea how it got activated. I never did it. Because in order to have super chats, I had to enable super chats and memberships on the channel. Once that was an option. And I don't have like a dashboard for my O1 channel. I do everything with my O1 channel through my cell phone. Whoops. Man, this is rough. Boink. But I think it's a cool feature. You guys are doing fantastic. Thank you very much. Keep it up. We're almost going to clear 1,000 views an hour. We're close. The XP system, you think it's gonna be bad? I don't know. I mean, as a gamer, I think the XP feature is kind of cool. I wish I was better at Robin. I'm not, though. I can't get hit at all. The problem is, what happens is I get hit by like a lone swordman or something. I didn't even know I got hit, you know? It's like, oh, crap. When did that happen? Because it's hard to pay attention to all the different... See, I got hit. It's hard to pay attention to all the different stuff that's happening. I got one more opportunity. I mean, I'm going to keep going until I get the 3rd star, but... Oh, it's about time that YouTubers got in trouble with content ID and stuff like that. I mean, but there is... Like, there's... Legally, it's a gray area that doing Let's Plays and walkthroughs and stuff is not something that video game publishers should be, like, stealing copyright on or claiming copyright on. Especially, like... I can understand if maybe the YouTuber, like, made, like, thousands and thousands of dollars. But the people that are making like $15, $20, or $50 a video, I mean, that's chicken fee. Like, that's just petty. I'd say even like $100 is petty. Because, like, Let's Plays have always been protected under fair use. Because it's a transformative work. So, you know, it's the difference between people that know U.S. law and people that don't know U.S. copyright law. Now, Japan is an entirely different thing altogether because they do not have a fair use law. They don't do the same things we do in America, so playing Japanese games from Japanese companies like Square and Capcom and things like that, I mean, you're always at risk. Level 5, all that stuff. Because they have different laws in Japan that are completely the opposite of what our entertainment laws are. I don't even think parody is protected under Japanese law in Japan. I don't remember. I've had to deal with Japanese lawyers before for a company. I can tell you that was a harrowing experience. And that was over a some type of anime game years ago. I don't remember what it was. Might have been Arc System Works. I don't remember. But Arc System Works will come after you with their legal team if you even show like 30 seconds of one of the stories in their game that they haven't approved. The only reason people got away with Dragon Ball the Fighters by Arc System Works or whatever is because Namco, I believe, were the distributors of that game. Like, they were the publisher. If Arc System Works was not only the developer but the publisher, people wouldn't have been able to show the story of Dragon Ball Z. That Dragon Ball Z fighting game. You would have been hosed. Because, homie, don't play that. Japan don't play when it comes to that stuff. Good job, Boy Wonder. Well, Star Fox Zero, we had a contractual agreement with Nintendo. There was a legally binding contract, as well as a whitelisting agreement. Okay. So we were actually contracted with Nintendo to be able to look at their stuff for years. So they changed their policy with their what do you call it? With their brand ambassador program with Star Fox Zero. They went from, okay, a little bit of criticism is okay, or you could do this in your Let's Plays or this in your live streams. Okay. And they went and they changed the terms of service. So the terms of service that we had was a contract from three and a half years prior. We had no idea that they updated the contract to include, like, you couldn't do criticism, like under their, or you'd face penalties of expulsion or lawsuit or whatever. You know, it was a real thing. So I went through and I did what's usual, because what made me such a good game journalist is I told people what it was. If a game is good or bad, I lay it out to you straight. I don't sugarcoat things. It's a very New York approach to doing game content, right? So I was just doing business as normal, and Golan Harris, the representatives of Nintendo in America, were like, calling my phone like crazy and like spamming my email and giving me warnings for my Star Fox series. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Because like I talked to them on the phone too, and I was like, what's the problem? And they said, you're being too negative with your Star Fox Zero content. It's like, we provided you this game, and you have certain things that you have to adhere to. And I said, I've been a part of the brand ambassador program for 3 years, and also I was a journalist that worked with you guys through my own company and affiliates for 6 years prior to the brand ambassador program. So I'm like, I don't appreciate you telling me that I need to do this, that, and the other, when I've always done exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm not being overly critical. I'm not doing anything that would be considered like, mean-spirited. I'm very respectful. I'm doing what I always do. It's business as usual. And they were like constantly telling me, well, there was a problem with your Zelda series, and now with this Star Fox series, which again, we provided you the game early. We gave you 2 weeks early coverage, to get your series up and all this other stuff. If we continue to see this, there's going to be problems. So by the time I finished my Star Fox series, which was already done, like I had recorded it 2 weeks prior, I was just releasing episodes every night. And I'm like, but the game is terrible. Like, the motion controls are really bad. But it's like, I didn't have time to go through and fix the Star Fox Zero thing because I was working on lore videos for my other channel. I was doing unboxings. We were doing Skylanders and Disney Infinity stuff all the time. There was so much going on. Also, we were prepping for the Nintendo Switch, which we were part of the brand ambassador program, so we were guaranteed a Nintendo Switch early. That's the whole reason why I decided to take up more, what do you call it? Not responsibilities, but more of the Nintendo Wii U and DS games, or 3DS games to cover, is because my whole plot was, all right, I'm going to work really hard and I'll be rewarded a Nintendo Switch. Like, I'll get it early like some of these other brand ambassadors, and I can get my content squared away. Because the whole thing about being a YouTuber back then, not now because it doesn't matter, but back then, the early bird gets the worm. The person who got the content out first, you would get all the likes and attention. You would be the first on the scene. People would be searching for the content. They would watch your stuff. You'd probably get subscribers from that. And that's how it always was. If you go back and you were on this channel years ago, we had early access to games and consoles and all kinds of stuff that gave us a nice little boost in the search engine, and we would get hundreds of thousands of views. So we would make back whatever money we spent or whatever. It wasn't like you were doing it the day before. You were doing it weeks before. So it was a big deal. So I was like, okay, I'm going to work with Nintendo here, and we're going to get as much stuff, as many of their games as possible. We're going to cover them. The problem is most of the games that released in that year, in 2016, were all trash. And me, because I can't lie, I couldn't go with a straight face and been an infomercial that they wanted my Let's Plays to be an infomercial. Basically, like starting in late 2015, they kept like getting on my case about the Let's Plays that I was doing, saying that it wasn't, very brand appropriate, all kinds of stuff. They were getting on my case for months, right? Like 6 months. So the boiling point happened with Star Fox Zero because the game was terrible. Like, the motion controls killed the game. It did. Motion controls were all over the place. Star Fox Zero had a lot of potential, but they squandered it. They failed, right? They messed up. So every once in a while, when I was having a problem in the Let's Play, because part of my thing is I, again, tell people how it is. So during the Star Fox series, when the motion controls weren't responding and, I was offering, like, man, if they just would have used traditional controls or stuff like that, they fired me as soon as my series was over. And that was it. I still think I was wrongfully terminated, and then I was blacklisted and stuff like that, but, they went through a whole process of changing how the brand ambassador program was. Because before they were just looking for gamers
Simulation
that
activated.
would play Nintendo games and show their audience how much they enjoyed being a Nintendo fan. There was never a thing like, okay, you have to make very favorable content, you have to do this and that, you have to have these talking points. Nintendo was never that type of company prior to that. And what's funny is, like, I am a very petty person, but I found this very karma-based. 2 weeks after we were let go, there was a content creator who took our place, because spaces were very limited in the brand ambassador program. Myself and one other guy got fired because of, like, mean-spirited content, or I forget what the legal term was in the, you know, being let go thing. But this other guy came in, and he was a big Kingdom Hearts person, or whatever, and he was very excited to be a brand ambassador.
Activated.
He got access to a game early. I don't remember what it was. It doesn't matter. And Nintendo was furious at him because he posted before the embargo. So my wife and I, always, for the 6 years we worked at Nintendo, or with Nintendo, we were never Nintendo employees. We were contractors. Online contractors. The almost decade that we worked with them, since the Nintendo DS and Power Rangers and all this other stuff, we'd never once broken embargo. As soon as Nintendo said, now you can post your uploaded series, we'd post our series. So this guy thought, because he was part of the brand ambassador program, that meant as soon as Nintendo sent him the game, then he could post content. And that's not what it is. So they brought in somebody based on, you know, being a channel our size, because he was doing pretty big numbers back then. He was our replacement. He broke embargo, and then he leaked the contract online, and he tore Nintendo a new one. And so not only did Nintendo, like, kick him out of the program, obviously, but they ratified their program. After that point, no longer would any YouTuber or streamer or influencer receive the game weeks before release. They completely changed their program because of that individual who replaced us. So, had we never been, you know, kicked out of the brand ambassador program, that person never would have gotten in. And most likely, a lot of brand ambassadors would have enjoyed the benefits of our inclusion in the company, as well as, like, getting the game several weeks early. Because that was something I pushed for as a journalist, like, the importance of getting the game early. And they were like, well, how does 2 weeks sound? It's like, wow, that's very generous. Because as a journalist, we only really need 90 hours before release to prep a review or, you know, whatever. Like a full walkthrough, you could start the walkthrough and then you fill in the gaps as you go. So, like, 90 to 72 hours is usually the norm. So when I was speaking to Nintendo before they rolled out their brand ambassador program, it was like, okay, I mean, 2 weeks is amazing. I would be able to have my series completely ready and, you know, whatever, but it's not necessary. Like, even just 3 or 4 days before release is plenty of time. But they were like, no, we're going to do a 2-week thing because we've noticed that there's some indie developers and other people that are doing that. And it's like, okay. So, I mean, this is like 2010, something like that. I was like, all right, that's kind of weird, but sure. It's either 2010, 2011. I don't remember. It was right around then. Because I was still working with them independent through GotGame.com as I was the Nintendo representative for GotGame. So I would get Nintendo DS games, like, I don't know, 3 days early or something like that, and get them in the mail, and that's how I did Steel Diver and a lot of that other stuff on 3DS. I did a lot of 3DS games with them. Most of the 3DS games that I got on release for the Nintendo DS were all provided by Nintendo. Or, like, the first wave of 3DS games, so Street Fighter 4, Steel Diver... they sent me a box with like 8 or 9 games in it, and I covered every single one of them. I don't remember all the games because, you know, it was a long time ago. So you have to excuse me on that. I can't remember every single console release. It's too long ago. You know, my mind doesn't work like that. It's better than to be truthful and, yeah, not lie, exactly. So, they provided all the stuff. I did that for years. I was like, okay. So, with me, there was the morality issue with them because it was like, they're telling me, hey, you got to do this. This is a contract now, and it's like, well, I don't agree with that. That's not the terms when I signed up with you guys. I don't think that's very ethical. And I was like one of those old school journalists that's like, I'm going to tell people how it is because, you know, people, when you are out there as a representative to the gaming community, it's important that you put your best foot forward and also you tell people the pros and cons of whatever it is you're showcasing, whatever game it is. That was like the core values of what game journalism was 2004 through 2014. That's the type of journalist I was. Either a game is good or a game is bad. There's no in between. You know, there's good and bad qualities of every game. That kind of stuff. So I was just doing my regular thing. But what I found funny was this person not only leaked the contract, but they also broke the embargo, which really set Nintendo off. Nintendo Japan went through the roof, according to like a friend of mine who worked at Golan Harris. And even though I had a friend at Golan Harris, I couldn't get back into their brand ambassador program. That's the upsetting thing. Because I'd known that person, I'd worked with them for like probably 6 years at that point. So that was really upsetting to find out that Nintendo blacklisted me. I was like, wow. But here's the thing, my whitelisted status still remains. That thing that I paid for whitelisting with my company is still in effect. Which is why I've never gotten a copyright strike from Nintendo. It's still there. I paid buco dinero for that in 2012. You can't even do that anymore because what we did is we found a way of like doing a loophole for like a television company. We used a television contract actually in order to finalize and iron out the details with Nintendo, and they were more than happy to be like, yeah, totally. You work with us, we'll work with you, and it was great. I really wish they kept to the same standards, but you know, companies change all the time. New people come in, new ideas. Old people you used to work with, they end up going to other companies. You know, companies never stay the way that they are. Look at Rocksteady. Rocksteady was a company that was filled with lots of intelligent people that had drive and vision. They were very good at making Batman games. More than half of their team left during the time that Suicide Squad was in development. And you know how Suicide Squad went. Just because you have the name recognition of the company Rocksteady, how many of the people responsible for building Rocksteady as a company remain? Very few. So the same thing happened with Nintendo's brand ambassador program. It was a great idea for them to create it, but the people who were actually the driving force behind that used that as the means to go to another company. Then they went to Sega, then they went to Konami, then they went to Capcom. And they brought similar programs with them that were very successful. In fact, there's somebody who used to be a part of the Nintendo brand ambassador managerial side that was responsible for creating the ambassador program at Ubisoft. So it's like the idea of working with influencers and stuff like that, it still exists today. It just exists in different forms. Nintendo's one doesn't really exist at all anymore from what I hear, but I don't know. Because the dude who we used to work with, he went to another company. I don't even know where he went. I lost track of him years ago. And what's funny is my former editors from my game journalist jobs are actually community managers in the game industry today. So they took their, you know, journalist credentials and they actually went to go work for the game industry themselves. As opposed to being representatives of the game industry, then they actually ended up working for the industry. And that's what I've always wanted to do too. It's not that I hate content creation, but I would like to, I'm getting old. I'd like to find other means of like staying online and earning a living and getting rid of the cutthroat competition that every YouTuber goes through. Like, I'm solely community based basically. Like, I only am around because of you guys. We don't pick up new subscribers. We don't appear in the search engine barely at all. We can't pay thousands of dollars on Twitter for people to find our content. So instead of having a gold, you know, badge or whatever that you have to pay, I think it's $1,000 a month. We pay like $40 a month for a blue thingy on Twitter, and that's going to disappear because we missed a payment. So, you know, we can't afford to keep that. That's going to disappear any day now. That blue thing is just going to go pop, and then that's really going to impact our searchability on Twitter. So, and you know, I can't afford to renew it because I don't currently. I'm not going to use my wife's words as like I don't have a job right now. I haven't been paid yet. I refuse to use that same terminology that I don't have a job. Because then I'll go crazy.
Simulation activated.
But I would love to get into like a community manager position, or because I know a lot about the game industry. The problem is the game industry is sick with cancer right now. There's a lot of people that have to be taken out of the gaming space in order for the game industry to go back to a healthy state again.
Simulation
Because
activated.
most of the people you have in community manager positions are all bad. They're not good people. I hate to say it like that, but it's the only nice way of saying it, like to bring attention to what has actually happened. Activists were in the writing sphere. They were in the graphic design aspect. They were the community managers. They were in positions of leadership, like for team lead and all kinds of stuff, which is how they were able to pass a lot of weird stuff in their games. People are like, oh no, that came from the top. It's like, no, 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 no. No, the top didn't know what half of the people were doing until it was too late, until the game was released. Because they would show them one thing about a game, and then they would release something else. So the top had no idea what was going on. Like the shareholders and all those other people, they had no idea that, you know, these people were so hell-bent on pushing agenda and, you know, messaging, as opposed to making games that would profit the people that needed to earn those profit margins, like, you know, the shareholders and the sponsors and all that stuff, and the companies themselves, the parent companies. They didn't care about any of that stuff. So those people are so enrooted in the game industry. They're part of the reason why 9,000 people have been fired over the past, like, couple... Actually, it's more than that now. I think 14,000 people have lost their jobs in the game industry. More than half of them are activists. Actually, I think the percentage is higher. But these people just didn't care about gaming. And they came from, like, weird backgrounds, too. Most of the people that got in a position of power in the game industry, they came from, like, news backgrounds, comic books, and not even, like, they didn't have a shred of video game experience. They just kind of leaned on the coattails of people that had been in the industry for 20, 15, 10 years and used that way to segue, you know, into other responsibilities. They didn't have a lick of talent, and you could tell based on the games that they released. They would just do the bare minimum. And eventually, you know, karma caught up to them in the state of what the game industry is now, but people have been saying, oh, it's over and all this other stuff. It's going to take time, you know? The roots run deep, as the old saying goes. It's probably by 2027, you'll see, like, a complete end to it. You'll have, like, a trickle of activism-based games for a little while, but it won't be like... Before, it was like a steady stream of content. You know, you would have, like, it wasn't like a trickle. It was like a stream. It was like, video games is like a lake. So it was like a river. And then it became a stream. And right now it's like a, I wouldn't say a puddle. We're not at the puddle yet. It's like a little movement of water. But it's still there. It's just not as current. But when you have people, you know, saying they're not going to go with these type of, like, stories anymore for AAA games, that's all very good. People say it's not good, but at the same time, it has to do with what content are people comfortable consuming. And not everybody wants to consume content that is not targeted toward them. Like, they don't care about it. A lot of reasons why these, you know, we'll say niched films don't do as well as blockbuster movies is because, like, they're targeting a certain demographic of people that are going to like those type of movies. Whereas mainstream, when they used to make content for the main audience, those movies would always do better in comparison because the audience is larger. So what Hollywood had the idea, and activists were, is they were going to start to put in a lot of stuff that a lot of straight people didn't like, and too bad. Now, eventually, their profit margins dried up, and that's why you can see, like, a pushback on this, 10 years later is because it started to really impact their bottom line. And it will continue to do so until a lot of companies just wake up and they're like, okay, I guess that's it. You saw it in the game industry this year. There was no,
Simulation complete.
there was no big push for June at all. It didn't happen at Summer Game Fest. It didn't happen in any of the game things. Nobody even brought it up. It's like it never happened. And yet it was a constant force for like 15 years. It was always there. There was always pressure to wear the rainbow pin. If you went to E3, you had to wear it. It was just expected. If you didn't wear it, then people would give you an eyebrow like, why aren't you wearing the pin? I had so many people ask me at E3, out of all the E3s that I ever did when I was ready to interview them, they're like, oh, I noticed you're not wearing your pin. I was kind of like, well, I don't support anything, really. I'm just here to do a job. And they're like, oh, okay. They're like, well, you really should be wearing the pin. And then, back then, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I was just like, I'm here to just interview you about your game. About the next Sonic game or whatever. But it was just, subconsciously, it was expected that you would do that. So the fact that there was a complete rejection of that for the first time in almost 20 years, I mean, that, to me, that speaks volumes of where we are as a society now. And where companies are at, like, the point where they are. I've heard from a lot of people, because I have friends who work at, like, Target Corporate and stuff like that. For whatever reason, in June, they started rolling out the American memorabilia as opposed to their normal June layout. And their profits soared. Like, they made more money with their American-themed stuff than they ever did with their June stuff. Like, people were buying American flags, American hats, and it wasn't even July yet. So, that was kind of interesting. Because what I've been trying to tell people for years is these companies don't care about you. They only care about if they can make money off of you. And as soon as they realize that they can't make as much off you, or they can't make anything off you anymore, they're going to drop you cold. Because that's how these corporate industries work. It's nothing personal, it's just business. They were never in it to champion any cause. They're there to, fill their coffers, so to speak. And if your side can't earn them money, they're going to drop you. They were never for any type of cause or, movement. They were like, how can we sell merchandise to these people, and will it benefit us? That's how cold and cruel the world is. The sooner people wake up to that, the better your life will be, because you'll be cynical like me. And, being cynical like me is not all bad. You get to see how the world really is. Outside of you guys kind of break the mold. My community is the nicest, most caring, compassionate, loyal, and very understanding group that I've ever met on the internet. And I've been on the internet for over 20 years. I've met a lot of people. You guys are very different type of people that would not be normal for an internet community. I'm just saying. Like, you guys don't exist anywhere else on the internet in terms of community. It's not a thing. No other content creator has the type of fan base that we have. Non-existent. So I'm very thankful for you guys, and I really care a lot about you guys. Like, you make the internet world very different. Because, a lot of content creators don't have that. They don't even have... I don't even think... I have talked to some content creators I know who have, like, millions of subscribers. They don't even know the names of their most dedicated, like, top donators. They always say, hey, chat. They don't... They get so many subscribers all the time that they don't even make... Even their top donators, they don't spend enough time with to get to know them for, like, more than a week or something like that. After a week, they already forget your name. That's just very common how YouTube operates, how YouTubers are. But anyway, speaking of, like, community-oriented stuff. So, next up is a Fortnite stream. It's gonna be kicking off at like 10 o'clock ish. And I don't think I'm doing another Batman stream because I'm still lightheaded. Right? Like Amber will hit the roof if I like pass out again. Because we can't afford it. Also, they just ran a bunch of tests like last night. There's no way my heart went from where it was last night to where it would be today. That doesn't work that way. Plus, I've been plenty hydrated today. Like I've like Amber's come by and she's made sure she's asked me several times. She's like, "You drinking?" It's like, "Yes, I'm getting liquid." So I've had a lot of liquid today. But I'm still lightheaded from last night, so I'm not gonna be working past midnight tonight. I don't think so. I'm trying. I'm trying to take care of myself. I have this like nasty like cloud over my head about the whole payment thing. It's really messing with me, gang. Like it's making me like I've been told I'm a pretty bitter person, but I'm becoming more of a bitter person. Like more than usual. Cuz I'm grumpy, but I mean that's just the New York side of me, right? I'm just like really mean lately. I've been swearing more online. I've been doing a lot of stuff that I don't normally do. Like it feels like I'm completely out of character for myself. Cuz I'm just like at a loss for like holy crap. I'm in big trouble. And I've nothing to my name right now. So that's a very difficult position to be in, I guess you would say. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna get the Fortnite thingy set up. I don't even know what time it is. It's so the Fortnite thing will kick off like around 10, but I need to get the music going to keep things stable. But thank you to the people that super chatted, and thank you for the conversation, everybody. I can't really. It's hard for me to read people's stuff because my monitor again has like scan lines all over it, and the laptop monitor is dying because I believe that's what the scan lines mean. I'm not a tech person, so I can't tell you this, that, or the other. I don't know tech. What I've been using is my cell phone to talk to you guys, and my cell phone has like really small print. Okay, I see people saying rest well, rest. Um, is Amber what? Hope you rest. Is she on my case recently? Yeah, but she's stressed. Amber doesn't deal well with stress. I'm a walking ball of stress, but Amber, she doesn't want to get fired from her job. She has to get up at like 3 in the morning. You are forced to stay in the office until it's time to go. Also, you have to go to meetings that could easily be in an email. True. You still have the 40-hour work week, while countries like Germany... Yeah. Yeah, Miss Deanna's talking about the situation. So I was hospitalized for exhaustion. Is what happened. NPC behavior. Having a 9 to 5 is outdated. What are you smoking? Who said 9 to 5? I don't think I ever said that. Oh, are you and Miss Deanna having a conversation? Okay, Okay, that wasn't directed to me. Okay, yeah, you guys have your discussions in the chat. Well, AdSense is one thing, but most of these YouTubers, they get paid like the really big YouTubers, they get a sign-in bonus with Kick. I think it's like 200 grand, something like that. Is what if you have like a million subscribers or like millions of subscribers and you're averaging like 100,000 or even 50,000 views a video. If you talk to the right people at Kick, they could offer you anywhere between 50 to 100,000 or 200,000 based on your size to stream exclusively with them. We've had no offer to go anywhere because you have to With YouTube, you have to be in at least the million view monthly range to be considered a successful channel. Since we're like at the 800,000 range a month in terms of views, we can't get brand deals. We can't do anything. So, I mean, I would easily go up to a company and be like, hey, I'd love to do a spot for HelloFresh. My wife loves to cook, all this other stuff. I think we're a good meet. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, totally. And then they look at your numbers and they're like, I'm sorry, but your channel doesn't meet our qualifications because you're not eligible because you don't have a million views monthly. So that's what I heard from Raid. That's what I heard from HelloFresh. That's what I heard from G Fuel. So I did try to get brand deals from companies to do like in-video advertisement is what they call it, but I couldn't get any. I talked to 75 ad agencies, like those companies that I've seen YouTubers work with. Everything from Classic Tees and everything, NordVPN, all that stuff. You have to have a million views monthly. You can be under a million subscribers, but you have to be pulling at least, bare minimum, 1 million views a month for your channel. So we're at the 800,000 range, so for this channel. And they don't combine it, so it is what it is. Well, yeah, when the channel got shadow banned, that messed everything up. I became like fully community based. Like the only people that I could reach was in my circle. That's it. Nobody else. It's better to rest and not overwork, but as well as your mental health. The problem is when I don't work, that's when my mental health deteriorates. Like the best way that I've kept myself quote unquote sane is by putting myself into my work. The moment that I don't have something to do, my mind, it races like a race car. All my problems, all my worries, all my financial problems, my health. When I'm left alone to my thoughts, that's when there's problems. When I'm working, I don't think about things. I'm working, I work. Which is part of the reason why after I live stream, I continue to invest into other aspects of my work until I basically climb into bed and I just fall asleep. I don't really have free time or anything like that because like there's a lot going on in my head that I don't want to think about. And when I'm left to my own devices as it is, it's not a good place to be. But when you're the best way in the medical field, how they tell people how to get better or how to cope with a certain situation is to get your mind off it. And my coping mechanism for 20 years has been YouTube. So me working hard and earning money and, creating a business for myself and t-shirts and all this other stuff, this has been my mechanism to deal with my medical problems for 20 years. Pretty much. 18 years. Almost 20. 18 years. Is that a healthy way of doing things? I don't know. I mean, it was almost a long time ago. But the shadow banning of 2020 really made things more difficult. It's been almost 6 years of that. But for the most part, I still think me working online is a good thing because I'm not in the hospital very much. I didn't have a choice last night. I was at 147 beats per minute. My skin almost looked like jaundice color. I could barely stand. I wasn't hyperventilating. I was in no pain. My entire body, the only sensation I could feel was absolute cold, like I was turning into Mr. Freeze. That's what the sensation was. My body temperature dropped to an insane degree. And my arms and legs, I couldn't stand. So when the paramedics came, I was on the ground. I couldn't sit up. I couldn't do anything. That's why they took me to the ER. They sat me in a chair. They did an EKG. And then they lifted me out of my house on a blanket like I was a 90-year-old frail man. And once they put me up to the IVs and they started giving me medicine, by I think it was like around 5:30 in the morning, I could start to move my hands again. and like I started to have mental clarity, but I was in a very bad state. It was horrible. Yeah. Yep. They administered an IV right away in the ambulance. Before the ambulance left, they got me in there and they were frantically getting me up to liquid and stuff like that. Because the one guy was like, he says, I think this is dehydration, and another person says, I think he's having a stroke. And then when I knew what most of the medical terms that they were talking about, because Amber was in medical assistant, I was like, just so you know, I know all the code words that you're saying, and they're like, oh, okay. Then they used other code words and numbers and stuff like that, and I didn't know what they were saying after that. But I was kind of like, I'm aware of what jaundice is. I know what this is. I know what EKG means. I know what BPM is. I know all these words. So then they used math terms that I didn't know how to follow. So I was like, okay. That actually made the situation worse because like they were telling me that my blood pressure was fine, or my blood pressure was a little elevated. It wasn't. I don't remember the exact number. It was like 160, I think. So, and by the time I left the hospital, my blood pressure was like down to like in the 80s or something like that. I don't remember. Oh, but I'm gonna go get something to eat, and then we'll get that Fortnite thing taken care of. But it sucks that my computer's got like these scan lines. I can't see my monitor very well anymore. But yeah, last night sucked. Last night was terrible. I didn't want to go to the hospital though. I didn't have a choice. Linky. Link, what are you doing? Because I would have just, like, if it was up to me, I was just going to have them put me on the couch and let, like, Link sleep on me so he could take a lot of my problems away. But if they hadn't given me, like, emergency, like, liquid stuff, like with the IVs, I had 4 or 5 IVs last night. Like, they said I was super dehydrated. They were constantly giving me water to drink on top of the IV. I probably had, like, 8 glasses of water when I was in my hospital bed. Like, the nurse was always coming by to make sure that I was drinking. So I went through several IV bags, and they were constantly bringing me water to drink. So, I think dehydration was definitely part of it. I don't know. I'm not a doctor though. But if I hadn't gone to the ER last night, who knows what shape I would have been when Amber came home? I don't know. It was bad. I was fine at 3 in the morning, and then everything just shifted. Like somebody hit a light switch on me or something. Like by 4 in the morning, I was messed up. Because I did that YouTube short that you guys saw with the cat. I filmed that at like 2:50, 2:55 in the morning. And I was in great spirits. I was fine. Amber got up. I gave her a hug and a kiss. And told her to see her later or whatever. She left the house by like 3:15. I was upstairs in bed by 3:20. I'd already uploaded the Batman video. I'd already set up the streams. I made the shorts. I made the Donkey Kong short. I made for what was supposed to release at 2 o'clock. I couldn't release it until 3 something. So I'd already done all my work. I was actually going to sit down and watch some anime. I took my medicine for sleep. And then everything went to hell in a handbasket, basically. It just went like roller coaster straight down so quickly. I wasn't even thinking about my problems at all, I promise. I was just lying in bed watching anime, laughing, and all of a sudden my heart went from its regular 50 beats per minute to 147. Because I have a device in the house that tells me my heart rate. So I was like, okay, I feel like I can hear my heartbeat in my head. So I put my device on my finger, and it showed that my heartbeat was like 147. And no matter what breathing I did or anything, it didn't go away. So I called I called 911 probably around like 4:15 after trying to deal with it myself for 15 minutes because I was thinking I'm having a heart attack. Oh my god. I didn't feel any pain. I just felt absolute cold. So I thought either I was having a heart attack or a stroke. Because I believe when your body temperature drops immensely, it means you're having a stroke. Especially if you're not having any other underlying symptoms or pain. So it's like, I need to get to a hospital ASAP, or Amber's going to come home to a corpse. So, you know, I made the decision to go, and I still think it was the right choice. Financially, it was the wrong choice, but I think they saved my life, probably. I don't know. But, yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go have dinner. I'll see you guys on the Fortnite stream. Thanks for hanging out on the Batman thing. And we'll do another Robin stream tomorrow. I don't think we're going to do Boy in Tights, though. I think we're going to go with 90s Tim Drake. Because we still have more challenge maps to do. A lot more. But God bless you guys. Thank you so much. And just for hanging out. I'll see you guys on the Miku Miku thing. Alright. Take care, people. Oh, yeah. Keep us in your prayers. Especially about the company not paying us, okay? Thank you.